film or a TV show or read a book where it has like this ending or this cliffhanger or anything in a way where it just leaves you begging for more, and then you send fan mails and you talk to them on the creators on Twitter and just beg for more, but it just doesn't happen. Yeah, so tonight we're going to be talking about a topic called To Be Continued, where all these things, where we have so many things that just ends in a way where, it leaves us begging for more, or it ends in a way where, oh, maybe more is coming, but it just doesn't. So, right off the bat, when we think of something that, we want some more of, but it just never happens, what's the first thing that usually comes into your guys' minds? This will be my first question for everybody.
Hold on, before anything, I'm just looking at the thing. Are we really live?
Yeah, it shows live on my end and it says to be continued, so no idea why you're saying it's not. Did you refresh?
I'm refreshing on
Yeah,
mine.
we're alive.
We are? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then, um, Tark, may you repeat the question?
So my question is, usually when we think of something in the arts that ends abruptly or has like a cliffhanger ending promising for a continuation or for more, but it just doesn't happen, what's the first thing that comes into everyone's mind when it comes to that? That would be my first question for everybody.
Anybody?
Sorry, what did you say? I got
Hold
so
on. No, there we go, Brandon. Now it
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
says.
don't worry about
Sorry,
it.
I'm in the middle of doing 8 different things.
No, it's alright. It's alright. That's why I was like, it says,
It's cool. Started out with a little bit of technical difficulties.
yes, we apologize.
It happens.
I vaguely heard the question. I'm so sorry. Don't repeat yourself though. I'm pretty sure someone's gonna answer. I'm gonna be like, oh hey, yeah, I got it. There we go. um. Okay, it looks like we're out of whack right now. So the question, if I'm correct, was, what do you think of games that end in cliffhangers?
Games, movies, anything in the arts that basically have cliffhangers or it just ends abruptly or basically has this promise that more is coming or it's going to be the first or the second of a long going thing and it just doesn't happen. What's the
I
first thing
mean,
that
like,
comes into your
first you
mind?
get your hopes up. And then when it's been a long enough period of time in which you think, okay, they should have been produced this. What is happening? You just sort of get this, like, huge amount of disappointment. Like, what? I love this, like, company or whatever, but I really want it more. I was waiting this whole time for some sort of continuation, and it just isn't happening. So yeah, to me, it's like a huge disappointment.
I just get angry. I'm one of those types that's like, why do you tease me this much and you don't continue putting out
Yes,
content?
it
It
is
is
definitely like a huge tease.
like, first of all, like, you get invested in a game and you really do want to you want to see what direction these games or movies go into, or TV shows, god, and you just get left with sadness and despair, and it's the most upsetting thing ever. You have no idea how, like me, I take it really like with anger, and it sucks. But that's just how I am.
Yeah, I get you there. I
So
mean, there would be a lot of anger at sometimes, especially at some point where you're like, you were basically promised this thing, this game, or even a movie, or any, like, sort of content, really, and you don't get it.
it's also, it's just it's in my opinion, some of the most disrespectful things ever. I understand that, like, there's cost into doing everything here, like, just the fact that they're like, you're making something, it costs a lot to do that. I understand that in order for them to put that much money in, they expect something back in, but, like, you end a movie or a game or a TV show or whatever with a cliffhanger. Um, I hear an echo. Um, yeah, I hear an echo. Hold on, could be me.
No, I hear it too. It's coming out of someone's speakers.
I don't have any speakers on. Try it again.
Can you hear it now?
No.
That was
It's
that
good.
was me then. That was me. All right, so um, one of the things that like I understand that they put money into it and they have to expect something back. But if people are clamoring for it, you would think, okay, we have a good amount of people supporting this project. Why don't we just try and put something out and expect something in return? Especially if it's a a video game, and we're gonna get into these video games that I like. There's a lot that I am hoping we receive. There's the Valve sign there. If you guys don't know what the picture is on the front, um, we're gonna discuss why they are allergic to threes. Um,
Well,
but
not why. We're going to discuss the fact that they're allergic to 3. We don't know why. They just prefer to avoid making too many of a particular series. I mean, everybody knows why you try to avoid making a third game, but like, it just bugs a lot of people that they just don't do more sequels to more of these games.
Yeah, that is
I
true.
mean, like I can understand why they don't, because then it would end up being something like Call of Duty or something like
Well, there's a difference between making a quality sequel after, especially after some time, and then mass producing content. Like people were saying, okay, we're fine with you releasing a new game every like 3 years, or if you're Bethesda, every 5 years or
Yeah.
plus. Just release something. Give us some word. Let us know that we're actually going to be
Yeah.
waiting for something to come out. And a lot of times they're like, "Sorry guys, we're not doing anything at all. We're never going to work on a continuation to this and so on and so forth." But it's like there's no reason they're still making money on a lot of the older content, and people are still waiting for newer stuff. They're just not doing anything with it for some apparent reason.
See, but the thing with Bethesda, and I hear the echo again.
Your headset early today.
I don't know what's going on, but and now I hear some other sound in the background.
I
This
have
is
no idea what that sound is. Sounds like a vacuum cleaner trying to eat everyone's soul.
I'm sorry, this is getting funny. Oh god.
wow. Today is one of those days, guys. uh,
Oh, sorry about that, whatever it is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the thing is, like, um, see, with the thing with Bethesda is that they constantly release content to their games, and that's why Bethesda is always on top of what they're doing, because they don't stay stagnant in the same, like
Tark,
with
the
me.
sound is coming from you. Sorry to interrupt you, AJ. Tark, the sound is coming from your end.
Check your microphone, dude. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, one of the things that I've noticed with Valve is that there's no extra content coming out of their franchises. For example, Left 4 Dead 2, they're not pushing out any content,
Yeah.
right? The same with Half-Life 2, they're not pushing out any content, and I can continuously go on with Portal, Half-Life. I think I said Half-Life.
No,
Team Fortress.
it's pretty much those three because with Team Fortress, I mean, like when you make a free to play game, you don't make a free to play sequel.
Yeah, that is
That's
true.
just like,
I wouldn't have
hey,
expected another one from that.
it's just like, hey, we're gonna completely fragment the entire community for no particular reason other
Yeah.
than
Hmm.
to do a thing. You know, like it's not like they're making money off of it. I mean, don't, they make
Right.
money off of the content, like the other stuff, like the hats and all that kind of stuff. But they're not making money off of a free to play game. So there's no reason to make a Team Fortress 3. If you were gonna say like, hey, we're making a huge update or something like that, we're adding to the game, and so on and so forth. So you know, get extra DLC or whatever the case might be. That's different than saying they need a third one. You make a third game for free to play games when you're saying, hey guys, we're completely changing
It's
everything. We're
gameplay.
changing
Yeah,
the
I get
whole
what you're saying.
core and the whole nine.
Yeah, but
Right.
here's the thing though. Like with like I saying, all right, with it's just that those games that I have mentioned, the ones that aren't free to play, there's no content being put for those. I love Valve. Don't get me wrong. I Left for Dead, Left for Dead for life, man. And it's one of those games that I would love to see a part three, but I've kind of given up on the fact that they are going to do a part three. And it's the same with Half Life. You know, I've been waiting for Half Life 3 for like 10, probably even more. Could be close to 15 years. Um, but we haven't gotten it. And it's just one of those, it's just one of those things that it sucks because we get Call of Duties every year,
Mm.
and the Call of Duties every year don't change. It's the same crap over and over. I keep trashing on Call of Duty, but it's
Now they're adding more space and
right.
more now they're adding more space and more future tech, which once they did Advanced Warfare, I was just like, okay, I'm happy with them again. And I was willing to take a look at it. I got the game, I played it for a while, and it was kind of fun. Unfortunately, I knew nobody that had it, but I was like, cool, change of pace. They had like really crazy weapons that you could use, but for only short periods of time, like a temporary deployable shield. So if you're under heavy fire, they grappling hooks, all kinds of really weird, crazy stuff. But you know what?
Yeah,
Change of pace, and I was happy with that. And
that is
then
true.
for the very next one, they were like, okay, we're gonna do this, but now we're also gonna have spaceships. So it was like, okay, cool. So we're kind of somewhat doing Battlefront, but we're also gonna make it Call of Duty Battlefront. That's what it sounded like to me, you know. And I was just like, okay, so now you're taking the same thing you had last year, and then you're just adding to it with spaceships. That's
I mean,
basically what it felt like.
but it's that's people are still going to continuously buy Call of
Obviously.
Duty games because it's Call of Duty. Now, there's again the hardcore fans of gaming. They're gonna stick to what they are more they what they like. In that sense, I love Left 4 Dead too. But how long has it been since we've had a game following Left 4 Dead?
Yeah.
How long has it been since we had a game following uh, Half Life? And the same can go with Portal 2. Counter Strike Go. I understand. Counter Strike Go still makes a lot of money to this day, but I'm pretty sure someone's gonna be like, well, I want to see what can happen if a new Counter Strike came out.
Yeah, like in the sense like we all look forward to having a third one, you know? So for for the case of like Left 4 Dead and everything, like that's been hyped up for so long and it's been so rumored that like people at this point are kind of like they're frustrated with Valve at this point, you know, where it's like, oh god, well, a lot of people were at this point just like losing hope in there ever being a third one, including me. So whenever anyone ever comes to me and they're like, oh, Left 4 Dead 3 is supposed to be coming out pretty soon. I'm like, yeah, it's not gonna happen. I'm like, yeah, tell that to me when I actually have some proof of this, because I have no proof whatsoever that that would ever come out. So I don't want to really hear about it, because just thinking about it
Hmm.
frustrates me.
But
But
the
here's
funny, oh
okay, go ahead, Tark.
no, after you.
All right, but I was gonna say, but here's the thing: it's not only Valve that
Yeah, of
has this
course.
problem. And
Lots of companies do.
this is why we're doing this topic, because it's not just Valve, it's not just video games. There's a lot of TV shows that I'm like, oh, I got so engulfed into this TV show, and I'm probably like one of the hundred thousands of one of the hundred thousands of people that actually went and watched it, and then out of nowhere, oh, we're pulling the plug on it. It wasn't that successful. I'm sorry, screw you. And like, I can go on down the list. There's movies as well. You're like, well, I want to see more of this movie. Like, why did it just end like this and
Mm.
not like, at least a conclusion? So, of course, we're doing this because we're doing the games because we're on Twitch, and plus we are all gamers. You know,
Yes, exactly.
So,
So-
sticking to the medium of video games for a little bit, when it comes to video game development, it's interesting how, okay, I don't know how many of you guys have seen this documentary. There's a documentary called Indie Game. Has anyone seen it?
No, it's free on Steam, I think, to
I
watch.
have-
I've seen it.
Okay, so Indie Game is actually a documentary about all these different independent video game developers, and they talk about their experience with, gamers and their experience of making the games that they developed, and then their experience and history of what happened after it was released and all that. Jonathan Blow was there, Phil Fish was there, and the developers of Super Meat Boy were there. And it's interesting to note what they said about, when they release something and then when it gets the reaction and the reception, and then when how the gamers react, it's going to somehow give a reaction from the developers as well. Phil Fish, he's the one who developed the independent award-winning video game called Fez. I don't know if you guys have seen it, heard of it, or played it. It is actually a really great game, by the way. But the funny thing is, he was developing a sequel, but due to gamers' reactions and their behavior and how they were basically like they don't care about all of his hard work. Like they play it, they're great. They're like, come on, when is the first Fez coming on? When they're done, when they play it, they get their hands on it, they're done. They're like, all right, where's the next one coming out? Come on, make another
Yeah.
one right freaking now. And then Phil Fish is like, all right, I'm done. This is too stressful. It's killing me. It's taking my life away. It's draining my money away, and it's draining my time away. So you guys win. I'm not gonna make a Fez 2. I'm done. I need
Yeah,
a breather.
and people
and all
don't
that.
realize that this unnecessary overreaction that they have, or this like need to demand everything immediately, or need to see stuff being mass produced in front of them. That's exactly what's destroying content. And a lot of times people are just like, oh, it's these companies making terrible content, or these companies doing this. It's honestly people. It's people and their need, their absolute bloodlust for this stuff, where they're just
Yes.
like, I need it now. Like
Some
whenever
people
Bethesda.
absolutely rely on video games.
Yeah, whenever Bethesda launches a game, people are just like, I waited, 5 years for this. This is stupid. It's terrible. I don't like this. You know how much content there is? You know how many unique lines there are of just like text and everything? It is absolutely insane the amount of time and effort that goes in these things. The amount of time and effort it takes to find and do everything, and then to just sit there and then play it again and then do it one more time in a different way, or choosing different paths and everything, because you can't choose the same path every time. So, or you can't choose, sorry, you can't do everything on one path, for example.
Yeah.
So when companies like put out this content and somebody's like, yeah, I beat it in like 2 days, I'm bored, you need to release better content, you should release it soon, and they're just sitting there seeing all this, it's really discouraging.
But
Yeah.
the issue is, okay, there's plenty of examples I can come up with. For example, the one game that a lot of Sony fans were waiting for, we received in 2016, which was The Last Guardian. Now, for those who know, The Last Guardian's been supposedly been like rumored to have been to be released during the PS2 days.
The PS3 days, actually.
No, this was PS2 days, my
Okay.
PS2 days, because Shadow of the Colossus came out when, like 2001, and then PS3 came out what, 2005. Going to say, The Last Guardian has been talked about being made in 2004. So The game's been talked about being made for a long time, and so you hear the rumors. We're gonna make it the Last Guardian. They're gonna make the Last Guardian. They're going to make the Last Guardian, but it kept getting pushed back. It kept getting canceled. It kept getting delayed, and then people lost hope. They was like, nope, they're never releasing this game. And then when they started to discuss seriously, okay, we're gonna start making this for the new console, a lot of people bought back into the hype, and then, you know, they took to it. They wanted this game so badly that when they received it, the expectations was too high,
Mm,
and the quality that they received wasn't as high as they hoped.
yeah.
And John, hold on, if you're gonna come back past like this, dude.
But the funny thing is, when talking about a video game like The Last Guardian that got polarizing reviews, it's interesting to note how the people who gave it negative reviews are the ones that were like, they all disliked it for the same reason. They all disliked it for the same reason. They all said, "Oh, the controls are weird. The mechanics are a little clunky. It's not really responsive." Those are basically the gameplay. Basically, people judging it based off of the gameplay. But the people, those who actually gave The Last Guardian a great review, they didn't just liked it, they loved it, to the point where I actually looked up like top video games of 2016. The Last Guardian,
Yeah.
Uncharted 4, and all these different video games were on that list. But like some people were like, why is The Last Guardian on that list? It's because people who liked it, they didn't just like it, they loved it. Then what's going on here? Why is it getting this polarizing review? It's basically, you got to ask yourself what kind of a gamer you are and all that, because this is the same situation with another game called Beyond Two Souls, which was developed by Quantic Dream, the same people
Oh
that made
yeah.
Heavy Rain. The same people that made Heavy Rain. It had the same
Yeah.
reaction where people who were in it for gameplay, not a lot of people liked it, but people who were in it for writing, for story, for the artistic value and art direction, they're the ones that are like, yeah, this is
and
something
and
else.
that's what
Yeah.
I got into it for, because I got it. I was one of those people who pre-ordered it, and I was just like, I really love what it was. Just both the studio and the people that were involved with it. I was like, all right,
Beyond Two Souls?
I
Oh, I
need to
loved
be
Beyond Two
all.
Souls.
I got the limited edition with the soundtrack and everything. I was like, I need to
Yeah.
be all over this right now. When I got it, I started playing it, and then I'm looking at it, and people were like, the gameplay's terrible. Gameplay's terrible. I'm like, are you kidding me? At one point in time, you could even ask Goth. At one
See,
point in
that's the
time,
thing,
when I
though.
was
It's like
playing
it
it,
wasn't about the gameplay.
it wasn't so much because people were like, "Oh, it's hard to shoot and stuff like that," because there's one part where you had to like run around a gun, but it wasn't
Yes.
about like the fact that you were running around using the gun meant that you were doing that part of the game wrong. But like when I was playing through it, I told Goth like, yeah, I had to put that down because like it was really like emotionally troubling for me
Yeah.
to the point where the character's life is so stressful that you get the option to commit suicide or at
Mm-hmm.
least attempt to commit suicide. And
Yeah.
after that, I was like, I stopped for a second, I turned it down and everything, and I just put the remote down. And I was like, I can't. This is too emotionally stressful. Like, the game put you in a position where you actually had to think about it because their life was so dark, it was so depressing, and the way they set everything up, it was just like I was actually considering it. That is some
Yeah, and
really
see, and
powerful
to
stuff when
me,
you're just
that
like,
is,
yeah,
yeah, that's what makes the story, you know? If you had to think, if you felt something while you were playing it, then that's really what the important part that should have mattered in that whole scenario, where in your mind you should have been like, all right, this was a really good game. Like I legit thought about things. That's when you should think, oh my god, this game.
Now, there's more games that have that type of community that are so enthralled with their story. They don't get their games that they want more content like that, and they don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's not just like, okay, so we're finally getting The Last of Us 2, and that game itself has a huge following, which unbelievable game, and it has a great, it has like the characters is just so well made. So that's one of those games that isn't going to fall in this to be continued category.
Yeah.
And I don't think Beyond Two Souls is as well because they actually are coming out with like the company that did make Beyond Two Souls is releasing a new game.
Mm-hmm.
They
I
Yeah,
saw
showed
they
that game too. Like they kind of gave your money's worth, so it was worth waiting. You know what I
they're
mean?
they don't do sequels. They do new content
new
every
Yeah.
content,
time.
But
which is
like,
see, I wouldn't call that like holding out like Valve. They
Yeah.
just don't put out new content as much. Like, what was the last Valve game?
Portal 2, I think.
and that was in the late
2011,
2000s.
20
Yeah.
no, it was 2011 or 2010.
Either way,
So
it's been a while.
it's been a long Dota 2.
See, the thing is too,
We
I think a
forgot
lot of
Dota.
companies, they get like a little overwhelmed with the demand of these sort of games because sometimes it's like you put out too many of them, you're overdoing it, and if you put out too little of them, you're not doing enough.
Um,
So
AJ, it
it's just
also
always a
AJ, it also
thing.
comes back to the fact that Dota 2 was out way before that, and also it's one of those free-to-play games that they just keep updating. I don't know if you
Yeah.
could
People,
really say like it's brand new. I
well,
mean, now they did something brand new where they tried changing stuff, and people were like, you know, going nuts about it.
yeah,
Like, this is
well,
change. I don't like this.
so any games that come to your mind right now has you thinking, why didn't they release a new part to this?
Well, I can list a few, but the ones that I have in mind, they already have like a legit reason why it hasn't been made and all that. Unlike Valve, where there is no reason, but there's only like speculation and all that. But the funny thing is, whenever something ends in a cliffhanger or anything like that,
Mhm.
and it's promising to be the start of something or it's going to be the first of something and more is coming, I necessarily can wait because, I'm not like the type of person where, so if I were to say, for example, Mirror's Edge Catalyst, spoiler alert, Mirror's Edge Catalyst ends in a way where it's actually supposed to be the first of a brand new series of Mirror's Edge games, which is great. That's wonderful. Unfortunately, nobody knows if DICE is ever going to make another one because even though they are happy with how much Catalyst have sold, reviews of Catalyst have been and all that other stuff. But personally, for me, if we're never going to see another ME game again, it's all fine because it's not like, I only play Mirror's Edge. It's not like this is the only thing that
Yes.
matters. You know what I mean? And it's not like that's the only thing DICE has made
Yeah.
that is good and all that. And
And
so, me personally, whenever I have something where, nothing is coming out, usually I'm like, okay, whatever. I try to look at it from the developer and the
yeah.
programmer side, where what if they are trying to work on it, but it's taking them forever and they're having issues and all that stuff? What happens if they turn into the next Phil Fish? Phil Fish, like I said, he was working on a Fez 2, but because gamers were just being so rude and everything, he was like, yep, all right, I'm done because you guys
Oh.
just don't know how to be patient and all that.
Yeah, see,
And
that's the thing.
so,
I like how you said, like, maybe, like you have other things going and stuff. For some people, especially some fans who are like hardcore fans, they don't have that mindset. They're just like, I don't care. I just want them to hurry the hell up and finish. I just want my game. You know what I mean? So they don't see it from the developer's
mm,
perspective. They're just being selfish pretty much and wanting what they want. So I can understand from both point of views, but I'm more of a person who does try to wait and I'll try to get into something else in the meantime so that way I can distract myself from the want of having the game that isn't out yet.
Okay, anyone else? I can go, but I want to hold my,
yeah.
you know.
Like there were the Tomb Raider games of like before we got this Survivor timeline, the before like back in the day we had this other Tomb Raider series, like the original timeline that ended in a cliffhanger. So yeah, it did. But the reason why it never got picked up was because Tomb Raider got sold to another developer. Same thing with the Star Wars The Force Unleashed games. Believe it or not, we were supposed to get a Star Wars The Force Unleashed 3. No, let's take it back even further. We were supposed to get a Star Wars Battlefront 3. Remember that? Yeah, Battlefront 2 was so good, and everybody was like, yeah, let's have the Battlefront 3 where it's going to have it's going to be even more realistic, where you're having these battles on land and then you can actually get into a starship and actually go way up into the sky and have a battle, and there's no loading screen. It's all happening in real time. So, and everything is people. Nothing is AI. It's all players fighting against each other. And I'm like, why isn't this out yet? This sounds fan-freaking-tastic. But the reason why it's not out was because, well, as fate would have it, it was supposed to come out and then all these things were happening. But, you know, as fate would have it, after LucasArts and Lucasfilms was purchased by the one and only Disney, all those other games were canceled and pushed and basically doesn't exist anymore. And all the Star Wars gamers were like, no. But then Disney was like, hold on, don't be sad, because we're getting a brand new sequel movie trilogy coming out. So be happy about that. And then fans were like, okay. Yeah. But it still sucks. But, you know, that's what it is. So reasons like that, you know, there is that perspective of, you know, consumer and basically, so it's us consumers and the producers almost, you know what I mean? So from our side, we're like, yeah, we have like this negativity. We develop that negativity because we are longing for more. But on their side, it's just conflict happening. And what if they really are trying so hard to get it out to satisfy the consumers and all that, but it just doesn't happen because, you know, of all these internal conflicts. And so me personally, I have an understanding of that. And, you know, like I said earlier, if something doesn't come, it's not like there are not other hundreds of other
Yeah.
video games I cannot get
I think
into,
it's like
right?
a lack of appreciation sometimes and a lack of patience. So,
Yeah.
we've seen gamers today. The rage is real.
All right, I'm gonna mention some games
All right.
that are that are widely popular that haven't had content pushed out in years. And so I want to see if, like, I know most of you guys probably would know Goth Angel. You know, she's fringe. She'll probably know some, but we will see. The first one I want to mention is Power Stone. You guys remember Power
I
Stone?
remember Power Stone and Power Stone 2. I remember that.
Brandon, what about you?
Yeah, I remember.
Goth Angel's like, what the hell is this?
It's an old game for consoles that she didn't have, so.
It's
Yeah.
fine. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Probably.
So, Power Stone was a wildly popular fighting game for the Dreamcast, and they came out with two of them. Now, if you play the story mode, yes, there is a story mode, guys. There's a fighting game.
Of course.
It ended up with a cliffhanger, so it got a lot of the fans going, "Ooh, you know, Power Stone 2. Oh, they're definitely gonna come out with Power Stone 3." What happened? No more Power Stone.
Aw.
What they did tease us with was a PSP collection release. So they had Power Stone.
I was gonna say they did have the PSP one.
Yeah, they released the Power Stone PSP collection, which had 1 and 2, and to top that off, there was a lot of buzz going around that, you know, Capcom had gotten into an agreement with Sony to put out a new game. But we never got it, and it was just, what's going on? There's a lot of fans clamoring for the game, so it's one of those games that, you know, Capcom dropped the bug on, and I'm hoping they actually do release that. They're finally getting back on their games. They pushed out Street Fighter. They're pushing out Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, but Capcom hasn't been pushing out many games. I'm hoping that they do revitalize and, you know, revive these games that had a huge following. And who knows? They're what I see from Capcom is a lot of reboots, a lot of remasters, a lot
Yeah.
of reworks, and of course they're gonna sell because nostalgia does sell. But
Especially now.
I would like to see some of these games come back with newer content, like Power Stone. Power Stone was great. Another game that a lot of fans have been clamoring about, and we've we keep constantly getting teased with, especially most recently they had it on E3. Oh, we're gonna do a Kickstarter. Hopefully, we do release this Shenmue. Shenmue. Now, for those who don't know, another Dreamcast game also came out. The second one did come out on the Xbox, but Shenmue was a wildly popular game. The story itself is interesting. The gameplay, but it was still one of those. It was a very fun game, and it's wildly popular. I will admit I'm a fan of Shenmue. Um, love the characters. I thought the game was interesting itself, and I'm hoping that this Kickstarter does go through. But
It
that's
already did. We're getting a Shenmue 3 later this year, man. It's coming.
okay.
Well, if this follows the same path of every other Kickstarter, we will get it sometime before 2020.
Oh,
That is the only promise that can truly be made.
Oh yeah, it's not like 2020 is around the corner, right? So come
Game
on.
devs seem to think like, guys, we can iron this out in a year. We got this. And then reality sets in and they're like, oh yeah, we forgot. Good games with a small team, that usually takes 2 years, not 6 months.
So again, just another game that a lot of people are hoping gets a release, and who knows? I would like to play another Shenmue. I thought it was great. Another one that I love these type of games. Maybe Tark does. I think Brandon likes stealth RPGs, stealth games as well. Not RPGs, but stealth games as well. Where's our Splinter Cells?
Well, where's the Splinter Cell that's like really Splinter Cell? So wait, I have a friend. His name is Tom, and he has a different take on how Splinter Cell should be played. And
I think everyone does though.
and like so, there was even one where they had multiplayer, and I can't remember which one was it.
Yes, I know
So,
which one it was.
There's a
Double
lot.
Agent.
There's a
There's
lot.
a lot of them, right? So
Double Agent.
no, everybody who played with Tom usually didn't like playing with Tom. Or they did. Maybe they did. I don't know. I think they played to watch how he attempted stealth. And his attempt at stealth usually just involves running in with heavy weapons and just mowing down every living person. Because his theory is that if there is no one alive to catch you, then you are not caught.
okay.
That is his theory on stealth-based games. If there is no one alive to catch you, then
Can't
you
get
have not
caught.
been caught.
Yeah.
And then that's exactly when we're gonna play Splinter Cell. He's like, "Hey, you should get this game and play it with me." I'm like, no. I'll stick to roguelites. Roguelites are more fun and less stealthy and stuff. But I do that.
I
But
love
yeah,
stealth
I
games.
I agree
I
with
love
the
stealth.
stealth games. Stealth games are a lot of fun and everything. My friend Tom just has a really unique way of going about them.
Of course, you're supposed to kill them all and not get caught. Duh, that's how it goes. You just, like in Metal Gear Solid, you would just have to press the triangle button and just like, and it's just like, yes, it's the greatest kill ever. You just
I just like putting everyone to sleep. That's what I
choke
did.
them like this. You're like, no, 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 no. Love it. It's just the greatest. That was my childhood. But besides that,
I love putting people
I
to
would love
people
to.
to
I would
sleep.
love to see a new Splinter Cell. Splinter Cell's one of the most fun Tom Clancy games in my opinion. I enjoy them. They're all. It's one of those games where you experience something new every time you play it. So I would love to see a new Splinter Cell. There's um to say something.
I can't even remember when was the one that was made because usually I just end up hearing about it.
Yeah,
No,
you're
it was
absolutely
black.
right.
It was Blacklist. Blacklist
Yeah,
Okay.
I
was
think
the
it
last one.
was.
Blacklist was the last one, and that was made in 2010. All these games in 2010, man, they just don't want to come back
Years
out.
ago, yeah. I
7
mean,
years, man.
right Right now, this is like the decade of the reboot.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
pretty much. Yes, it's just a lot of remasters or just
I mean,
this.
you'll always have a lot of like stuff being mass produced. It's whatever, but this is like the decade of the reboot. Like for example,
Devil
the
May
one
Cry.
I was going to mention actually is pretty funny. Hold on, if I can pull up the image actually. The one I was going to mention was one of my favorite game series when I was much younger, and they kind of just
Mega
drop
Man.
it. Yeah, they kind of just drop it and they don't bring it back up. And then the team who was working on their own Mega Man game within Capcom, when that got dropped again, because like every other year they pull up a new one. They're like, guys, we got a new one. We're working on this, and they drop it. The only thing that ever seems to make it through are the Mega Man Battle Network games or the mobile. But these
Oh
people,
yeah, what happened to the Blue Bomber? You're right, like
so
that.
yeah, so with the Mega Man Battle Network games, they're I think they're still continuing them probably, but the original version, the platformer version that a lot of people really enjoyed and everything, they keep trying to bring it up, and then a lot of times Capcom will say, listen, platformers aren't really popular right now. We're gonna have to just drop it for now. So that team was just kind of tired of it. They tried doing their own version of it. They tried doing their own game, and they did really, really well on Kickstarter. There was a lot of high hopes for it. And then, weirdly enough, they just completely changed the art style. And some of the mechanics were a little weird, but other than that, they gave it just the ugliest looking art style and everything. And I have the game, and I can't even remember what it's called. But such high hopes for that game. But yeah, Mega Man's another one of those games where it like even if they did like an older version or something like that, like an older stylized version, it would probably do pretty well, I would say. I know every once in a while they release an anniversary collection, but it's literally the same games from like 10 years ago, going all the way back like 20 plus years.
Could even be
And
older, bro.
yeah,
From the
but like the
80s,
thing
man.
is,
Late 80s, man.
they keep doing anniversary collections every 5 years, but it's like there's nothing new in the anniversary collections. They'll add additional stuff like, hey, we added more soundtrack stuff
Yeah.
that wasn't in the old anniversary collection because we didn't have enough space because CDs don't carry that much space in them. Now we have DVDs. Or hey, we're doing a digital version, so now we don't have the limitation of DVDs, so we'll just add in everything. But other than that, they don't really add in much anymore. So
What
Mega
was
Man's one of
the
those games.
what was the last platform Mega Man game to come out?
Oh man,
I'm pretty sure it's one of the
Um,
Legends games that came out for the PS2.
I was gonna
no,
say it
no,
was back in the
no.
PS2 days, wasn't it?
Wait a minute, no. Wasn't Mega Man 10 and Mega Man 9, weren't they like they were meant to look old school, like reminiscent of Mega Man 2, because we all know Mega Man 2 is
That
the
was
best
Super
Mega Man
Nintendo
game.
though. Those were
No, Mega
Super.
Man 2 is NES, NES. Mega Man 2
No,
is NES.
I'm talking about Mega Man 9 and 10.
No, they were released on Xbox 360 and PS3, like you one of those
But
Xbox
those
Live
but
Arcade
those
stuff.
were remastered. They were brought back.
No, 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 no. They
Yes,
were
dude.
actually no, they're not. They were actually original games meant to look like they meant to look like old school from Mega
Mega
Man
Man
2 days.
10 initial release date is March 1st, 2010.
See?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Okay.
So that's as far as I can remember, Mega Man 10.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
and that was an original story, but it was meant to look like it was old.
Yeah,
Okay,
that makes
fair enough.
sense.
But yes, 2010.
But they could do. I feel like
2010.
instead of
The year-
just.
the
Yeah, I
year,
know.
dude.
I know. I
Oh
feel like
my
instead
gosh,
of
man.
instead of making it, because I'm looking at art style and pictures for it and stuff like that, it really does look like like some of the older Mega Man games, like exactly like the older ones. So if people
Yeah.
were to glance at it, they'd be like, yeah, this is just a what's it called? A port over. This is just a port over. So they're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I've probably played this game. I'm not gonna do it and not want to play the game. I was
I
thinking
think.
something along the lines like kind of like what that other game did. Mighty Number Nine. There we go. So what
That was
Mighty Number
bad.
Nine did was they updated a lot of the animations and the graphics and stuff like that. The game got boring really fast for me when
It
I was
was
playing it.
bad. It was bad.
Um, I feel like they could have done similarly to what they did, where they updated the graphics, stuff like that. If they had literally just updated it, and made it look really clean and smooth, like added just an insane amount of detail, but make it the same game, I would absolutely buy that in a heartbeat. I would
I
get
mean,
myself killed just to watch the death animation over and over again, and how beautiful it is. Just me
Uh-huh.
dying.
all right. So, what about you, Goth? Any? Oh, I have one, but I want you to say
Well,
something.
I kind of did go around it like 500 times, so I really have not much to say since I
Wait.
literally just poked into anyone else's chat
No, it
about
was
it.
in
So.
the chat.
The
No, I'm
chat.
saying
Okay.
I literally poked into your guys' conversations about each game and I
Oh, okay, okay.
added my own feel, you know.
That's fair. That's fair.
So.
Okay. So, how about this one? Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Oh yeah, that was another one. Super pop. Well, then again, there was kind of a good reason for it. We slowly started moving into the age of family friendly, and
Yeah,
I would
that one
say,
wasn't so
AJ,
much friendly.
I would vote that a lot of people would think that that game is not family friendly.
I mean, in my opinion,
Do you
just
want me to
tried with
drop
Conker's Bad Fur
non-family
Day.
friendly games right now?
Yeah, but back then you see companies and stuff they didn't really care too much about that, so
And then
they got away with it. Okay,
so these games were
if that was
on,
now, it wouldn't
weren't they
be
on the
on.
Nintendo consoles originally?
Yeah,
Yes,
Conker's Bad Fur Day was on the Nintendo 64,
Yeah,
right?
that's a
Yeah.
great reason. So Nintendo
sadly.
is super pro family back then,
All
and
right, but here's the issue: Nintendo doesn't own the rights to Rare anymore.
That's
They
no,
lost.
they
true.
They
don't.
lost
Yeah,
that right years ago.
yeah. And
And
whoever picked them up could have easily done it again.
Microsoft.
Microsoft.
They could have easily done it again, but instead Microsoft was like, it's too risky. Let's just give people the opportunity to use Conquer, and now they have Project Spark, where people just can use Conquer and do whatever they want.
Well, who plays Project Spark?
You can. It's available for your console.
Yeah, but who plays that? That's my question.
That's your
So,
problem if you don't.
see,
You're just saying that it existed, AJ.
see,
Jeez.
here's the thing, because I'm avid lover of Conker's Bad Fur Day,
Me
Yeah, I
too.
mean,
and
it wasn't
I
really.
remember when they re-released it on the original Xbox,
But
which
Conker
was
Live and Reloaded.
Conquer Live and Reloaded, and they added some extra stuff to it, like the PvP online multiplayer, which
Yeah.
was okay for what it was. But I would like they teased us with this, hoping that oh my gosh, we're one day gonna get a sequel to Conker's Bad Fur Day because it, Conker's Bad Fur Day ended in a cliffhanger. For those
Mm.
who remember the game,
Yeah. But the thing is, with Rare, they did openly said that they were developing a sequel, but then, it got canceled. So
Exactly. Unfortunately, that's a thing that happens a lot of the
that
time,
happens
where
all the time.
they'll mention a sequel and then they get canceled, for some reason or another. So, unfortunately, a lot of that is not really always in the company's hand. So,
And
yeah.
plus, Rare wanted to work on other things, So,
like
like when they were no, hold on. Like after Conker's Bad Fur Day, when they were working on the sequel, they were also at the same time developing a video game called Dinosaur Planet. But then, Shigeru Yuimoto got a hold, saw the project, and was like, "Hey, why don't I work with you on this Dinosaur Planet, and it can be a thing and all that other stuff." And then Dinosaur Planet eventually turned into Star Fox Adventures for the Nintendo GameCube, and then at the same time, Rare got picked up by Microsoft, where instead of working on it, they canceled the Conquer sequel in favor of other things coming out. Example, more Perfect Dark games. To be honest with you, as much as I love Conker's Bad Fur Day, Perfect Dark was just better. I'm just not gonna lie. It was
whoa,
really
whoa, 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 whoa. That's an opinion, okay? That is an opinion.
Yeah, just
You're
like yours, AJ. You
good.
state them all the time, though, don't you?
is
You got told
that
by
Conker's
good
Bad Fur
self.
Day is one of the greatest Nintendo 64 games of all time. Just saying.
It is, it
Also
is,
an
it is.
opinion.
And GoldenEye 007 is a much better first-person shooter
Another
than
opinion.
Perfect Dark.
No, it's not. But okay.
Bang! Just say. So regardless, there's
Gosh.
more. There's much more. There's
But
much more games we can
yes,
talk about.
there is, but the thing is, whatever cancellation that there is, or whatever, how many times we're hoping for a brand new title, or how many times, developers are teasing us with something new, and if it just doesn't happen, there usually is a reason why it doesn't happen, and I don't think whatever reason it is, it gives us gamers the rights to, fuss and go really mad over, you know what I mean? So there's that just because they're not developing a sequel, that doesn't mean they're not developing anything else. Example, Kingdom Hearts 3 is not going to come out for a long time, but we got Final
Don't tell me
Fantasy.
that, Tark. No.
But we got Final Fantasy 15. See, it's
I
like
don't
that.
care. I want more Kingdom
So it's like
Hearts.
that. So just because it's not out or if it's never going to come out, that doesn't mean we cannot appreciate any of their other work. So
No, of course
yeah.
not. They also released Tomb Raider, so that was great. Tark does not like this new survival Tomb Raider. Just saying.
It's cool.
It's okay. His opinion's obsolete.
Wow.
All right. So, any other games before we move on that you guys want to at least mention? Like,
Hmm.
where's this game? How about this?
Brain?
I want a new Sonic Adventure.
They're done. That's it.
I know
I
Yeah.
don't know if that's happening, but you can dream.
Yeah, because Sonic Heroes sucked. And what was the last one? Sonic versus wasn't it Shadow the Hedgehog? That one's terrible too.
That one
Damn.
was a Sonic third-person shooter. That's totally what that was. It was not a Sonic game. That was not an adventure game. That was a Sonic third-person shooter. And if you look at it as a Sonic third-person shooter, that game was a ton of fun because all I did was just run around, just spray into everything. And then I was like, wait, wasn't I supposed to do a mission? Oh yeah, I gotta run over here. Okay, I'm gonna shoot at more stuff. Like it was running and shooting, and that actually it was a high speed Call of Duty. That's what it was. It was high speed Call of Duty. Um, no, it was pretty terrible. But one game that I was pining over, I was waiting for a sequel for, and I'm one of like the 8 people that have been waiting for this sequel. But
Uh-oh.
they did announce it. It's coming out. Now more people are excited, and suddenly everybody remembers playing this game, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, I played this game. It was great. Can't wait for the sequel." It's Halo Wars.
Yes, it was
All
good.
right. Halo
I
Wars
do.
is the bomb. Yeah.
I had a lot of fun doing it. The reason I'm super excited for it is because the original one wasn't out on PC. And
This one's
now
played
this
to
one's
everything. Yes.
gonna be crossplay. So, I tried playing it on the PC, the demo version that they had, and they had so many server issues I could hardly connect. But everything looks really, really awesome. The gameplay mechanics are a little weird. I'm hoping it was just because it was the demo version or something. But the game looks good. And I'm excited to see what they do. I'm kind of upset they got rid of Cobras because 90% of my fun was Cobra lines. But other than
I'm,
that,
I mean, I love RTS games. There's many I can name. Like Myst. Where the hell's our Myst? Oh.
I feel like if they poured over the first one, I will buy it again.
Right?
And
Myst is
oh
so
man,
good. Lucid, you look like you want to say something goth. Go ahead.
No.
Let it
I
get.
have
All right.
nothing to say.
How about okay? Then there's for me, I am also looking forward to Phantom Dust, which was another game that, man, that game when that game came out, I remember playing it. I was like, I've never played a game like this, and they never came out with a new one, and they teased the crap out of us on E3, and then I don't know if it's delayed. I don't know if it's on hold. I don't know what's going on. They stopped production or they restarting production. But that game, if anyone remembers ever playing Phantom Dust, was a really interesting game. And when they brought that back up, I was really excited. I was like, oh, I can't wait till this game comes out. Seems very interesting. Um, Again, it's been 3 years since they last had a trailer or something to talk about Phantom Dust. And from what I heard, the company I was working with it they ceased. I don't know if someone picked it up, but I'm hoping that gets picked up. So that's another one that I'm most likely looking forward to. So anyone else before we move on to what Tark enjoys a lot.
Mm, I can't think of
No?
any more games now. Those
I think
I
we're
can.
good on the cover of games here.
So, movies.
And movies and TV. So
Movies
let's
and TV.
combine them
Yes,
together.
movies
I
and TV
I'm
shows.
going to throw out the one that hurt me the most because I was
God.
fully into this show. It's a show. And I was like, it hurt me when they canceled it. And that was the Hannibal TV show.
Oh, I know.
Because Hannibal, they went so in depth with the character of Hannibal in this show. I was like, man, I know why I love Hannibal Lecter. I know why I watched all the friggin' movies, including the really bad ones. But the Hannibal TV show showed a different side of Hannibal that I loved so much. And I was very let down when they were like, "Oh, we're canceling this TV show. Screw you
Yeah.
guys." I was like, "No, no!"
Did
Like
they
they
cut
were
it?
so
Did they cut it mid-season though? Because I've seen shows do that.
they didn't they didn't they no they didn't cut it mid season. They
You
actually
you
That's
have
left
to
what
the
I've
screw
seen.
up
Yeah.
pretty bad to get canceled mid-season,
I've
though.
I've seen
yes.
shows do this. I can swear to
Like
you, I have seen shows literally
like
cut mid-season.
you have to get the call and go, okay, guys, we got it. Like you can insinuate certain things, but when you show it on camera, that's when you get pulled off the air. I apologize, but you're getting pulled off the air. Like that's when you get that call, you've officially deserved it. Like that's it. There's
Yeah.
no going around it. You never get pulled mid-season unless it's just like, okay, I don't know how you managed to get past the FCC with that one, but you're taking that off right now and you're no longer welcome
Right.
on this station. Like, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
that's usually the
Yeah.
case.
You
But
know,
Hannibal was such a great show. I loved it. A lot of people loved it. It's kind of upsetting that it didn't get as many views as it's like they wanted it to be. But to end it with the way that they did, because it was like the conflicting side of the main character who wasn't Hannibal, right? And for those who haven't seen it, it's the story doesn't really like the story revolves around Hannibal, but he's not the main focus of the show. And it was just really upsetting because you see the character going through so much emotional and just emotionally, and he's going insane. He doesn't understand why this is happening, and you're seeing like like the the oh man, I just can't go into it.
without
I'm not.
spoiling it.
Without going nuts with it and yeah, spoiling
Yes,
anything.
and get mad because like they canceled it. So that was the
Too late
one
to be
show.
mad.
That was just the one show. I'm just like, why did they cancel the show? It was so
Yeah.
good.
I think we
And
all have one of those though. That we
yes,
Yeah.
we
loved.
someone recently mentioned Heroes. They actually did bring that back,
Yeah.
but it wasn't as uh wasn't as good as the original Heroes. So but yes, it did get brought back. It was Heroes Reborn, and it wasn't as popular as the ones that had just come out. So that show was great as well. There's so much I can talk about though. There's like I'm just not gonna go there because it's a very upsetting topic. Very upsetting. So uh I'm just looking at Tark.
I guess I'll go next.
Yeah.
The one I was hoping for more of that they just kind of stopped. I mean, they had their reasons, most of which being, it's not popular enough or we're not selling enough merchandise. Is Invader Zim?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
that one was pretty messed up, but it was such a great show. It was funny because once they said, "Oh, we're canceling the show," the merchandise just flew off the shelves. They sold out of
Yeah.
everything. They're still selling official merchandise here and there too.
Yeah.
And like they're still making tons of money off this show that's been canceled for ages now. And every single time it gets brought back up, hey, are you guys gonna continue it? Are you guys gonna do it again? The original writer for it was like, well, I wanted to for a while, And then after a while, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm gonna do other stuff. And then I think they approached him again with bringing it back, but he was like, nah, I moved on, I'm done, I'm not doing that again. Like they
Which is
took,
normal, which is
I don't
yeah,
blame
it
which
him.
is
happens,
like,
yeah.
I'd be mad too though. It's just like you canceled my show because I'm not selling enough merchandise. But then as soon as it gets really really popular, that's when you're like, hey, we want you back, we want your money. He's just like, no, now you're screwed. Take
Yeah,
care.
yeah, that's
I'm
yeah,
gonna
that's
go do
okay.
my. He does a comic book, and that comic book's amazing too.
I mean, at that point, I would just do my own thing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And
And
I got like T-shirts and everything from the show, and it's just absolutely absolutely amazing.
yeah.
Um, and it was one of those shows that really got me to realize how dark I was as a kid because like everybody else around me, like whenever my family or anything was watching this show, like while I was watching, they peeking in and checking on me, they'd be like, "What is going on? Is that thing stealing people's organs?" And it was the episode specifically. One of my favorite ones, and it's funny enough because it's one of the most famous ones, is the one where he's stealing people's organs because he thinks that you're the most human if you have the most human organs.
That makes
So
sense. Logic.
he's got all the livers, he's got all the kidneys, all the lungs, and everything. He's like, I am the most human because I have all the human organs. Because they were doing, I think it was like the school was doing X-rays or something like that for medical exams. The medical exams. There we go. So like the nurse was going to do medical exams. She'd do an X-ray of somebody and go, oh, you have. I think it was like a one of those sound makers, like one of those things you turn around, you move around, and it like makes noise or something like that. It's just like, oh, you have that for a kidney? Okay, you pass. Like she just wasn't even paying attention, and passing all these people who just clearly not healthy and not even caring. Meanwhile, Zim is doing everything he can to just pretend to be human. And then even funnier is like the background to the story itself, where his planet, the leaders of his planet. I don't know if you guys know how the leaders of his planet are chosen.
It's
They
been a
Mm-mm.
while, but I'm pretty sure I do know.
it's the simplest thing ever. Whoever is the tallest is the leader of the
Oh
planet.
yes, yes.
That is it. If you're
Oh,
taller than
wow.
everybody else, you lead the
Okay.
planet. And the two tallest people are the leaders, and they're the worst people ever. And it is
Oh,
absolutely hilarious. But
And Zim is so short.
yeah,
He
everybody else on
thinks
this
his
planet is
thumbs.
super duper short. And they give him a broken robot whose brain is composed, like its AI is composed of garbage they literally pulled out of the trash and threw into his head, and that's why it's such a poorly functioning robot, and it's just hilarious.
Poor robot.
No, I do remember Invader Sim being a really good show,
It
and
was,
yes,
you
that's
guys should. I wish there was some place to go check it out at too. I think they might have old DVDs or something like that, but they
They
don't.
probably do have some
Yeah,
somewhere.
something somewhere, some point in time. But that was one of those shows where I was like, man, I really love this. I really hope they continue it, or at least if the guy who wrote it gets another show, because I would. He's great at
Yeah.
art. He's great at his artwork. He's great at his writing and everything. He's brilliant. But he's also really dark, so I can see why he can't get back on TV.
Yeah.
what about you, Goth? Anything in specific that you were like, no?
I'd say like for TV shows, there was this one show that I really liked, and it was originally a book series, and it was called, well, it was a teen fiction, I believe, book series, and it was called The Secret Circle by L.J. Smith.
I know what you're talking
Um,
about.
yeah. Anyway, so it was originally a book. I had at the time I had never seen the book, but it was on TV, and at the same time they were also doing the Vampire Diaries, which I did read. So I was like, all right, this is awesome. They're gonna do a series of this, and then shortly after they came out with Secret Circle, and so I was like, oh my god, this is even better. More of her books are being turned into like TV series. These are great, you know. Um, I didn't really enjoy the Vampire Diaries, but as a TV show, but the Secret Circle was actually really, really good, and I thought it was going really, really well. And then all of a sudden, what do I know? They just stopped showing it. And you know what the worst part about it is that literally they were advertising another season for like for like straight up
Months,
straight
months.
up like months, right? They just kept advertising another season, and I'm like, okay, yeah, there has to be another season, right? Because they left on such a really bad cliffhanger that it's going to upset me if I don't see this another season next, you know? Like, it was to this point where I was just like, okay, this is really bugging me. Where is the other season at? Where is it? You know, like, I had this point where I was just like getting really frustrated with them because I was just like, they keep advertising it and it's not showing up. And they even like had set a date and everything, and the date had already passed, and I was like, what's going on? And I even tried to go to their website. I tried to go to their Facebook fan page and all that stuff,
I
and
feel like with stuff like
nothing was
that,
being advertised.
I feel like with
Deep
stuff like that,
investigation.
they really should. Well, in this case, it is a novel series, but I feel like
They had
with
nothing to
stuff
do
like
with
that,
it.
yeah, with stuff like that, and the same thing goes with like Invader Zim and stuff like that. They would continue it in like another, even if it's not a TV show, because TV shows are very very
I mean,
costly
even
to produce and
honestly,
stuff.
I would have even taken a web series.
Yeah, I would have taken like a
I would have
comic
taken
book
a
or
web
something
series.
like that.
She had I wish she had just like gone in and then took over it herself.
Eh,
But
just
because she literally threw her rights out for the show, she had
that's the worst
nothing to do
part.
with it. That's why she didn't continue it. That's why she couldn't continue it. So unfortunately, they just kind of left this taste in my mouth, where I was just like, I'm never trusting you again. Just like no. But you see, the thing is that I should have known better because it was on the CW, and if you know the CW, they tend to do that a lot with TV shows. If something isn't working out for them, they throw it away immediately. So it's like they pretty much do a test run for like a month or less, and
Hmm.
then they're like, "Oh, this isn't working for us. Let's just get rid of it. That's it. We're done. We're not even gonna give it a chance."
There's so many
So
cartoon series like when I was a little kid that were
unfortunately,
like that
that's the
too.
case.
How about
Yeah,
how about this one? I'll throw out one that I'm pretty sure none of you guys will remember, but
really.
it was one that impacted me the most when I was a child, and that was WMAC Masters.
Nope, don't
Tark,
know it.
you laughed. You know it.
Yeah, I know it, but I wasn't a fan of it.
Oh, come on, it was so great.
Hold on.
Oh man. Okay, so this show back in like 1994, 1995. It was a martial arts show. It was aired in like like Saturday afternoons, and it was cheesy. I admit.
Yeah.
That's probably why Tark hated it. But that's why I enjoyed it because it was very cheesy and it always had a message at the end of the show. So it was like a martial arts association, right? Where they all competed and they all competed to earn their like this stone. It was like I think it was Dragon Stone or it was like a WMAC Dragon Stone, right? And whoever won it would be like it was the champion. And it was one of those shows. Like, again, it was very cheesy. That they tried to be. It was like kind of preachy, but it was martial arts, and it was good martial arts. It was very well choreographed. I love the martial arts in the show, and I thought it was really cool. Um, After the second season, they like a really crazy thing happened where like the people started invading this tournament and they were like the really bad villains in there. They were like trying to take over the WMAC. It was like the World Martial Arts Council or something, and they end the series with one of the main characters confronting someone who turned out to be his brother, working for the evil the evil like
Conglomerate.
clan. Yeah, the evil clan. And it was like, and it ended there. Never, no
Good
more,
ending.
no more episodes after that. And you're
So,
just, you're just sitting there like, why,
um,
why?
one last one I forgot about, and it just reminded me of it. Is when I was a kid, I used to watch this all the time, and I could get why it was continued because it was beat out by its competition. Um, and it was a poor choice for a direct competitor for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. but
Oh, oh
it
yes, I know.
is an absolute great series, and it's Street Sharks. And yeah, and this was such, well, in
Look at
my
the shirt.
opinion, it is such a great series, but it was so punny, so punny, but it was so
I
great at the
can
same
tell.
time.
Does it say Jossum?
Yeah, that's where, I don't know if you guys know, like, I always say that, and you see me type it out a lot. So that is not a typo. That is me being absolutely pathetic and still living in the 90s,
Just puns, man, puns.
and just, and I love that shirt, and I always say Jossum. And then I found that shirt one day, and I was like, what? I need this.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty awesome though.
yeah.
Wasn't there
That
also
was
a? I don't know if they finished the series and then ended it or just canceled it. But what about Teen Titans?
I think
Oh,
that ended.
That one was a good one. I don't know what happened to it
it
exactly.
didn't
It
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 didn't
didn't
end
get
because there was
canceled. Oh, it didn't end.
it
Oh, never
canceled. Yeah,
mind.
it was
Oh, it was
canceled.
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 No.
Okay. See, I loved
Um,
that show, but
it
and
because
then
it
they
didn't end.
replaced it with freaking Teen
Teen
Titans
Titans
Go. Who
Go,
the heck
yeah.
wants that crap?
So it didn't. The series didn't end for your AJ. By the way, we're talking about Teen Titans. Um,
Oh,
the series didn't end. There's like a humongous chunk of stories that just never continue. They just didn't even continue going with it. Um, so it was kind of unfortunate because I think they left off like right after Terra. I think it is Terra turns to stone, and like there was a whole bunch of stuff that happened, and it was
on
really
Teen Titan.
upsetting. Yeah,
Jeez.
it was really upsetting that they just didn't continue with it because there was just no
Teen Titans
particular
so good.
reason for it.
Oh,
But we have Teen Titan Go, which I do not like.
that's not
And
no
then
no. We
that's
don't
also
have
not a
that.
continuation because they have all the same characters, but there's gaps in the story. There's no consistency with the story. There's
It's
a lot
more
of
kid
gaps in the
friendly though.
stories.
That's the whole thing. It's
Yeah,
more
which
aimed
is
for the
weird
kids.
because
It's for brain dead kids though.
you're
Let's just
calling it
put
Teen
that out
Titans.
there.
You're calling it Teen Titans, and it's not being applied to teens. At this point, you might as well just call it like the Titans. Cause
Because they're not teens. They
no,
act like kids.
they're not teens, and the
Okay.
show isn't directed toward teens or anything like that. I mean, they are in their teens, most of the characters. But like it's not directed toward teenagers anymore or anything
I
like
mean, who
that.
the
I
heck
feel
would
like.
watch that as a teenager and really like it?
I mean, I can continue with Code Lyoko. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Was another great one. I loved Code Lyoko. Never finished. I was like, why? I can name like 1,000 animes that I'm like, why did they not finish this one?
Code Lyoko, they did end actually. I think the American version might not have ended, but I'm pretty sure it did end. I
Mm.
have to look it up. Were you there for the one, two, three? What was it? One, two, three, four, fifth member. Were you there when they added the fifth member?
Yes.
And then all the stuff preceding that, where like there's like multiple worlds and all this kind of stuff to it too, like not just the one world, and it was a whole bunch of nonsense.
It was a
Um,
lot, but I was still gripped to that show for
oh
some reason.
yeah, it was great, and they had like a whole game to it and everything like that, and it was really cool. They start explaining a lot of the things that they never explained. Even Jeremy gets pulled into the world and he has powers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So like it was really cool. But they did eventually have an end. I have to double check though. They did eventually have an end, but it was kind of like a gray ending where it was just like, oh, he might. If you watch it, there's a villain. His name is Xana.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, he might still be alive, or it might still be surviving somewhere. You know, it was one of those type of endings.
Mm.
Ugh, so it wasn't really an ending.
Yeah.
So
And
regardless, there's
Zero
okay.
mentions there's another anime or show that had mixed animation and stuff like that. I can't remember what it is, but I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, there we go. He says it in the chat, but
Yeah, Galactic Football. I remember that one
it
too.
was an alright one. The mixed animation thing is what threw a lot of people off, and it's actually why it wasn't as popular. Also, the show was French, so when it got translated to English, it just looked really weird. Everything about it looked and felt really weird. and there are some inconsistencies with what we're used to, especially what we're used to with seeing Japanese animation.
Yeah.
So it was really weird. I do like the show though.
There's plenty more we can definitely discuss. But what about movies, guys? What movies were you like, oh, I'm so excited for a part two for this or another part for this movie, and then bum bum bum, nothing.
This is actually a little bit of a sad topic because we can sit here and say, "Oh, I wish there was another one of this," or "I wish there was another one of that." But as everything is nowadays, we're gonna see it. We're gonna see another one of that.
See,
You know what I
I'm
mean?
I'm thinking more like
So
stuff where they literally set up for a second one and they're writing or they
Yeah.
they have a second one in place and then they
Spaceballs for
just like,
sure.
hey guys, here's the ball. Oh no, we dropped it. Like it's just
Spaceballs. Like I remember when Mel
Yeah.
Brooks, the late Mel Brooks, when he was still alive, like everybody was wondering, oh, there's gonna be a Spaceballs 2, right? He was like, I don't know, but no, there was never one, and there never will be one now that he's dead and everything. And and that's
you,
not the only thing. Like I remember I've been hearing rumors of a Jurassic Park 4 for like ever and all that. And then it was flying around for years. And then when Michael Crichton died, the author of Jurassic Park, he was like, everybody was like, everyone at Universal Studios was like, yeah, no more Jurassic Park 4. It's not going to happen. And then they were like, oh, wait a
Jurassic
minute.
World.
Yeah, then wait a minute. Hang on. Maybe there is a possibility that there could be one. Maybe, boom, Jurassic World. Was it good? No. But it is what it is. But
I
no,
liked it. I
I
I
liked
liked
did.
it.
it. You
I
I'm
did.
wanted
probably.
something,
I'm
right?
probably.
You got
it
something.
was
I'm
yeah, that's
probably.
the
Yeah.
thing. There was a lot of cry for it and they came up with something and it was okay, but it wasn't like the original content. You got to think of it. It's just like what would have happened if they decided to do a Spaceballs 2 without Mel Brooks. What happens
Yeah.
if you try to make anything of Mel Brooks without Mel Brooks? You you don't get the same content. You really don't. It's just
Yeah, with that, you're not gonna get what you want, obviously.
Mel Brooks content, and the same thing with like there's a lot of authors where you see them pass on, and somebody's like, well, someone else can take up the mantle. You
Yeah.
get someone else's vision of that person's
I mean,
content.
so obviously it wouldn't be the same. And so it makes me kind of laugh when people think, okay, yay, continuation. This is gonna be like the old stuff we loved, and it's like, no, how could it be if that person isn't around to have the same ideas? You know, so it's just kind of sad when people just jump to that conclusion that it's gonna be the same.
So
Um,
I'm gonna answer someone right now. Jumanji's being remade.
Yeah,
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 we all know that.
should know
Someone
that.
said Jumanji. Anyone remember Jumanji? And I was just like,
yeah,
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
and
it's
and
being
it's
remade.
me
and
actually.
that also
So.
reminded me of
Oh.
another game. I don't know if you guys remember Zathura.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I read that book. Yeah, I
So
read that book, and I saw the other
I
film.
actually watched the movie, so.
yeah, I thought it was really funny because I was thinking about, oh yeah, the film based on a board game. And I was just like, oh yeah, Zathura. I mean, for me, that of course Zathura clicked with me because
I liked it.
it's sci-fi, so that was just like all I needed. I like Jumanji, don't get me wrong, but
I liked both, but I like
space,
Jumanji more because like I related more
the
to
whole
that.
time travel thing too, just oh man, it was so good. Anyways,
right now nothing's drawing in my head, which is bad.
What
Which is
movies?
bad.
Sark,
No,
any
no, no.
But
movies
I feel like there are
or
so many
shows or
movies though. It's
anything?
just hard to.
but like one of them that's like we keep hearing about there's going to be another Kill Bill. I don't know if that's happening though. It's supposed to be called The Bride from Quentin.
According to Quentin Tarantino, not to get too deep into it, Quentin Tarantino says if he were to make a sequel to Kill Bill, that would be his last film before he retires.
Fair enough. Although he also said he wanted to do a sci-fi movie,
Yeah,
which
that too.
that would be bomb. But besides that, I'm waiting for a Kill Bill, new Kill Bill. But I'm also waiting for, and this one's gonna be, actually, I'll hold this one for last. You guys, what else, you guys?
The funny thing is, as much as we can sit here and say, when it comes to TV shows and when it comes to films, as much as we can say, I wish there was this, I wish there was that, odds are there either is already of that or there's going to be another one of that. I've been waiting for another Star Trek ever since I was a kid, and then look at it, look at us now. We have another one. We've been waiting for a Star Wars Episode 7. Look at what happens now. We're waiting for a Blade Runner 2. Look what's happening now.
So
This is
maybe
I
what's
it's just all a matter of time.
I
now?
really
either
like
that or there's something going on in this Hollywood business where they just need to bring back old stuff to try to get us going. I don't know.
I really like the way they explained what they did with the Star Trek series, and it's just literally an alternate universe where someone. So if you guys understand how traveling back in time works, it's just literally someone tried altering history, and
Yeah.
you can't actually alter history. The only thing you can do is create a new timeline, and that's exactly what this one is. Like this Star Trek. So when everybody's like, "Oh, this is different," I don't like it because it's different. It's like, okay, well, it's an alternate timeline. What do you
It
want them to
is.
do?
Yeah, don't you hear like one of those
We had
what do they
multiple
call?
Spocks. I think
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
yeah. That's the
That's
whole
more
point. You
enough for
don't
me.
you hear the voice of one of the older characters. I think it was Shatner, right? On a hologram or something.
No,
Yeah.
that
Maybe.
was Prime Spock.
Oh, then you hear Spock talk and say that this is like a different.
Oh yeah, you see him. He's in the
Yeah.
films.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he literally is a character that they're interacting with and everything. And he's just explaining like I don't understand like for this even for the second one they're like, "Hey, have you ever heard of this bad guy?" He's like, "How are you dealing with this bad guy now? You're not supposed to deal with him for years." And it's just like, "Well, too bad. He's a main plot point right now." And
Yeah.
so on. Like it's
Yeah.
I
So
thought it
yeah,
was cool how they did that, and I liked how they went around with that. Not
I
necessarily
love I
everything
love
about the
Tark's
films was
disappointed
awesome.
face.
It's not necessarily that everything about the films was awesome. I just liked how they decided, hey, instead of just rebooting it, why don't we explain the reboot itself? It was a cool idea in the back of my head. I was just like, that's awesome. I like
Yeah.
that someone was just like, it's sci-fi anyways. Let's take the extra little bit of time and go with the extra little bit of effort and just explain time travel and then,
Mm.
split timeline theory.
What about you, Lucen? Any movie you were like, or Goth? I keep.
I don't know, I'm not really
Hmm.
huge on movies itself, so I'm not sure if there's anything that I was waiting for a part two of.
Or
If
Tark,
there was,
anything
it
you
was
were thinking
probably so
about?
long ago I can't remember it.
Yeah, when it comes to all these films and television, we can think of television shows a lot. We can think of,
Yeah.
Veronica Mars, Firefly, Dark
Of
Angel,
course.
The Tick, all these other shows,
The
Firefish, and
tick.
all that got
You might
canceled.
have been
But
waiting for the
here's
tick. I was.
but here's something interesting though.
Earthworm
There is
Jim. Oh,
there is something that Invader Zim, The Tick, Firefly, Veronica Mars, Family Guy, Futurama, South Park, all these things, there is one thing they have in common. And the thing that they have in common is they were all TV shows that got canceled but came back due to fan reception or community reaction. In other words, fans and the community freaked out about it, and then eventually they acted upon it, and then the studio decided to bring it back. Does anybody remember Veronica Mars? Does anybody remember that
Yeah.
recently we had the Veronica Mars movie that was actually budgeted by the fans through Kickstarter?
Wow.
That's amazing. That's unbelievable. And then Firefly, they've turned it into a film called Serenity, and
yep.
now it's a comic book series. It's an ongoing comic book series right now. But they turned it into a film, Serenity, and that wasn't supposed to happen because usually television shows that have only one season are not supposed to have feature-length films, but this one did, and all that. Family Guy also got canceled. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Family Guy was once canceled after season 2 or 3, and then it got reruns on Adult Swim, and then Fox decided to bring it back. A lot of people don't know that, but now you do in case
And
if you
then
don't know.
same thing
I
for
did.
I'm not
Futurama.
huge in Family Guy, so.
My Futurama did the funniest thing in the entire world with the way their season ended, where their way their show ended. I think it was canceled twice. So the first time it was, hey, I have some bad news, guys. We've been canceled, and the very next episode, they're like, guys, good news, we're not canceled anymore, and everybody's like, yay. So what happened? And they're like, well, the guys who canceled us, it turns out that those same people were then taken and fired, and then everybody's like, yay. And then they were thrown to the floor and beaten, and everyone's like, yay. And like, in fact, they were beaten so bad, some of them had to be hospitalized. And the crew is just like, do we keep celebrating? He's like, in fact, some people even died from those injuries. And you're just like, what is it? Why are they just like enjoying the fact? They're enjoying the fact that they came back so much that they're just beating up on the people who decided they needed to be canceled. And even funnier was the way they went around the way they imaged that they were canceled, that their license was canceled by the Box Corporation. And then when they show the Box Corporation building, it's literally just it's the Fox building, and then like the word box fades out to Fox, like the neon lighting to it blinks in and out and everything like that. Like it's just making fun of the fact that Fox canceled them and they came back. This is the same thing in the later on when they got canceled again, where they're like, weird. We went through what's it called? They got brought into Comedy Central. That's what it was,
Yeah.
where they were like, "Oh, we're now on we took a wormhole and we ended up here. Thankfully, we were alive." It was kind of weird. It was funny, like a sort of like a comedy wormhole. It's like they tried so hard to explain the fact of what happened without saying it in so many words.
But it was so obvious.
Yeah,
It was
it
obvious.
was it was
Pretty
so
darn
hilarious.
obvious. They made sure it was obvious.
Oh yeah, and they
They're
like
like
making fun of the fact that they
openly
keep
hinting
coming back.
at
They keep making fun of the fact that they keep coming back, and that whoever it is that decided they needed to be canceled just should not be employed anymore. It was great.
Okay, but what Tark was saying is that it's rare to see movies that
Oh
just
yeah, or like a TV show. First of all, a TV show, it's true, doesn't get a movie after one season. But Firefly, it was weird because they were like, hey, you got to wrap it up, but don't use a season to do it. Use a film to do it. It was weird. It was even weirder that it got canceled. And then they wanted to bring it back, but they were like, listen, we already made the film. We can't bring it back. We're not going to. We basically have to say, hey, guys, the film didn't happen. That was the only way they could bring it back. And I think, isn't that what they did for the comic book, Tark?
No, they acknowledged the film.
Oh, they acknowledged the film? Alright.
Yeah. Like
And
Okay.
whoever died in Serenity was still dead, and yeah,
Yeah,
things still.
yeah, so this is exactly why I was just like, I wanted to continue reading and stuff like that, but I was just like, I don't know what I want to do at this point in time. But I do have a bunch of brown coat stuff. It's great.
Okay, so now, I think we tackled a lot. Now I want to get into something that I want all you guys to think about. So when these games, TV shows, movies, a lot of fans are clamoring. They want more and want more, but they haven't received it. How long is it till you decide I shouldn't wait for this game anymore, or this TV show, or this movie?
You
You know,
shouldn't ask me this question because I am
You're
patient,
patient.
and as soon as a film is done, and if sequel's coming soon, I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll just watch it when it comes out, and I'll just watch any of the other stuff and read any of the other stuff that comes out in between, whenever it comes out, even if it comes out 10 years from now, I'll be there like that. I can wait. So me, personally, for me, I don't give up on things. I don't give up on people, and I don't give up in general. And so Like, even if it takes an age, it doesn't matter for me. I can still wait and all that. As long as it's, as long as they're still keeping up with the promise and as long as they are still dedicated to their work, I'll still be interested.
Okay, so here's where I plug something in. So, um, you just recently said that um, Blade Runner
Hmm.
getting a sequel is coming out this
Yes.
year.
Yes.
When was the last Blade Runner movie?
You mean the only Blade Runner film? 1981? 1982. Blah, 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 blah.
1982.
That's
So
long.
that's how long? 35 years?
Yeah, that's how long ago it was.
35 years. Now, imagine there's a lot of people that saw Blade Runner the day it released. Now, imagine these people have had that long, desperate, you know, oh, they're gonna make a new Blade Runner. How many times have they heard that?
I'm sure they gave up a long time ago.
How many, they're gonna come out with a new Blade Runner. Oh, I got a new Blade Runner. I can't wait. And then 35 years later, oh, they're coming out with a new Blade Runner.
Well, the
Oh my
thing is,
god.
Blade Runner, it kind of didn't really need a sequel because it was
Yeah.
it was more of a symbolic film rather than a film to be, flat out entertaining. You know what I mean?
There's always
So,
someone out there who wants more, though.
Yes,
So.
there is. That's the whole point. And it's not only that they enjoyed the characters. That first of all, Star Wars. When George Lucas made Star Wars, he did not expect this to be what it was. I always go to Star Wars. He did not expect to make two more movies after the first one, but he did because of how popular it was. He was like, okay, well, I gotta continue. A lot of people want new Star Wars,
mm,
so boom, he started making more Star Wars movies, and but it was because of how popular it was, how many people enjoyed it, and again, Blade Runner, wildly popular movie, has a great following. Right, a lot of people would they have been clamoring they wanted something new for Blade Runner because they enjoyed so much of the story, but those fans never got a new movie. And so when they recently announced this new one, a lot of those fans they are definitely intrigued. They're gonna go watch it. But again, how long is it? How long do you have to to give up on the project? How long do you have to wait? Because it happens. I've given up on Power Stone 3. That's my opinion. I know it's not coming out. And if it does come out, I'm going to be surprised and I'm going to cry and I'm going to then throw it. I'm going to throw money at Capcom. I want it.
You see, for me, whenever I give up on something, I give up on it completely.
Yes,
If
I
they
do.
somehow announce, okay, guys, I'm sorry we a long time ago announced we were gonna have a part 2 or 3 or 4, but we're not gonna do it. Forget about it. If they said that straight up to me, I'd be like, I figured. I gave up on you a long time ago.
Now,
Cheers.
now, now, now.
That's just my. This is how I am.
Here's what I'm gonna counter you
here's
with.
the deal. Here's the deal, though.
Tark. We talked about this before.
Your face.
So okay, let's say 10 years down the road, you've given up on this game franchise, but they're like, hey, guess what? New Left 4 Dead!
So unless, like I said before, several times, unless they're like, hey, new Left 4 Dead's coming out tomorrow, I don't care.
What if they literally
really don't care.
What if they have a real set date? They're like 2025 Left 4 Dead.
I'm gonna be like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Oh.
I don't buy into anyone's crap these days.
No, but this is
they
Valve.
Have to legit.
Valve
They have
themselves.
To legit wait.
Valve.
I would have to wait until the exact day.
See, but there's so many times, and I've seen this too, where they're just like, okay, guys, we're gonna be releasing this game by November of this year, and you're gonna be like, oh, cool, yeah, November of this year, it's gonna be awesome. They're like, yeah, we're
And
taking
then
on this huge
delayed.
project.
I can name a game
Yeah.
right now that said that and then didn't happen.
Yeah,
They
so
were late.
they're like, yeah, November, guys, we think December is more realistic. Okay,
Exactly.
okay, guys,
Sometimes
guys.
some games do that, and then they
So
never come out.
remember
And you're
how
like,
we did said
oh,
December? Well, there's this little bug, small bug, not a big deal, guys. Don't worry about it. But Q2 of next year.
Quarter two.
Just what?
that's
How the
why
heck
I
did you
give
go
up.
from December to Q2 of next year? So
I've seen
guys,
people. Yeah, I've seen people
guys,
that
I
are
know we said Q2, but we have to put the game on ice. Small problem. One of the developers out of the 30 that we have, she's having a baby, so we can't. We're gonna
oh,
ice the
you
whole
know,
project. We're gonna ice the whole project. We'll be back before you know it. Two.
you can't come back to the babies for like 6. You gotta wait.
Same thing with anime too. You know how many animes are just like, guys, we know you love this, but this one person, she's having a baby, you know, in a year, she'll be able to work and bring the baby to work, so she'll be able to work with the baby and everything like that. No big deal. 1 year, we're gonna have this show on ice. 4 years later, they mention that they're going to be continuing the comic soon. Like, okay, guys. Okay, let's keep doing that. Let's just keep saying, "Hey guys, don't worry. We're going to give you some hope and keep doing it." For me, it's more like, okay, I see how good something does. I see the reception and I'm like, "Okay, cool. Let's see if there's any official word." You see official word like that, and I'm like, "Well, maybe eventually they'll have something." Then you see a trailer, but when I see a trailer, if it's not a film or a TV series, I refuse to acknowledge the existence of a trailer for like a game that does not actually show gameplay.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's not any gameplay or anything, I'm
I don't
like,
want to see
okay,
no coming soon unless you're actually
yeah.
giving me some gameplay footage.
It's like, okay, this is cool, but you're not showing any gameplay, so as far as I'm concerned, you're going to be making a movie out of this game. I don't
I
know what's
mean, like,
going on.
especially if their track record speaks for
Oh
itself, you
yeah,
know?
especially. So then I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna ignore that. But if it's a film and they release a trailer and it shows different scenes and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully they come out with it, and usually they'll have what's it called, like a release date where it's just like I'm gonna release the movie this particular year. There's just no particular day. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll expect that by December then.
That's
Mm,
why I don't like when they say the year and not the actual date. I
Yeah.
know they don't want to get anyone's hopes up, but that just makes me think, is it really going to be like 2016,
I
2017, or
would
is it going to be like
right.
2018?
I would rather get a message or a tweet saying, guys, we're working on it. No promises
Yeah.
as to when it will come out. And then when you're just like, okay, guys, we're at the stage of, for let's say a film, we're at the stage of late editing. So we're like, we're touching up some little stuff and we're doing translations. 6 months. Then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm totally up for it. Let's see those trailers.
Yeah, like
Let's see where
for
you
me,
go
there
from
was
now.
someone who was making a web series that I was gonna watch, and it was supposed to be based off this book that I really love.
Mm,
And the entire time, she was saying that she's doing it herself, like it's her project. She's the author of the book, so she wants to do the web series because she was afraid that if she made it into a movie or if she made it into an actual TV show, they're
You
gonna claim all the
basically
rights. They're gonna
you
change
lose
stuff, and
everything.
she did not want that.
right.
So she was playing it smart, and she was saying, so everything is basically gonna be coming out of my pocket. So it's gonna be a lot of time working on the books. I mean, working on the web series and working on the characters and everything like that. So she was like, she would constantly be like, "Oh, guys, so just be patient with me, and stuff like that. I am doing everything I can to get this up and running." And I swear, she started from saying, "We're looking for casting crew right now. We're in the middle of filming the first episode," stuff like that. She would update constantly, and that was something that like her loyal fans loved. Like they looked forward to it, and they understood, okay, well, this is really happening. Like this is what we need to see
But
when it
this
comes to people claiming that things are gonna come out.
Yeah, this goes back to the Kickstarter thing we were talking about before. Where a lot of people do that with Kickstarter when they go to Kickstart movies and stuff like that in games.
Yeah.
And at first they're updating constantly, and then after a while they start updating less and less, because after a certain point in time, in all honesty, and some people explain this, some people don't, which is really bad of them when they do a Kickstarter. After a certain point, there's nothing to update on. You can literally post constant updates like, hey guys, we're squashing bugs. Next week, hey guys, we're still squashing bugs. Week after that, guys, squashing bugs. You know, yeah. The week after that, hey guys, we're fixing bugs. Changed it on you. We're not squashing them anymore. We're fixing them. You know,
Mm.
like, there's only
Yeah,
so much
I
you
get
can
you.
do, and it's the same thing with like filming. You kind of don't want to keep updating because you don't want to give too much away.
Right.
Um,
I mean, what
you
are you
don't want
gonna
to
keep
spoil
saying?
too
We're
much. Right?
filming.
Like,
We're still filming. We're
yeah,
filming some more.
like you could take a picture, like, hey, look at
The
this
most you
person
can do
on
is like
set,
behind the
or
scenes crap,
yeah,
or
like
like interviews with the cast. Stuff like that. I mean,
you could
Mm.
show people setting up equipment and moving stuff
yeah.
around and stuff like that. But it's just like how far does that go? Um, like, what does that
Hey
really
man,
need to do? You
just
know?
let them do it. Just let them
That's what I'm
do it.
saying. Just
Just
let
let them
them do
do it.
their thing. But there's
Yeah.
sometimes where like they just won't update at all for very very long periods of time or anything. Like I'm thinking about months
Oh
without
yeah, that
updating, and
happened to
then
me
that's when you
once.
really tick people off. And this is what's screwing over Kickstarter, is that there's a lot of people who are like, I'm gonna take all this money and just not say or do anything, or like a lot of things that people think they're doing when they kickstart something is like, hey, a Kickstarter for some people is literally a pre-order. That's the way they look at it, and that is the worst way to do it. That is the worst way to look at it. That is not what Kickstarter was meant for or to do. It was meant for stuff like I don't know if Tark has ever done any Kickstarters or anything like that. You're backing someone's how to say, you're backing someone's hopes. Like you're helping someone achieve what they want to do, but at the same time you might get something out of it in the sense of like, hey, this person's going to do a film or this person's going to write a book, and if I help support that book, I'll get a copy. Yeah, you might pay either the same amount or just too much to pre-order a book,
Mm.
but at the same time for someone's content or for like what they're doing, you it might be worth it to them, or you might consider it worth it because it's not just for you, it's for that person as well.
Yeah.
It's that sort of deal. But a lot of times these people will set really ridiculous goals or like expectations for time. And it's the same thing that a lot of people do in large companies too, where they're just like, guys, we're going to do this in 6 months, don't you worry. And a very large company where you have tons of people, that might be possible. But like with these smaller groups that do it in Kickstarter, especially films and games, they're like, we're gonna have it to you next year for this game. I'm just starting this game out, but I can already tell I'll have it next year for you guys. And
Yeah, that's why I feel
three
like they
years
shouldn't
later,
set a date if they're not done yet.
3 years later, they'll be like, okay, guys, we're finally releasing this game.
Hmm.
And it's
I
like the
mean,
worst. The worst that you can do is
They
just kick
underestimate the
yourself in the
amount of time.
face. Yeah.
Underestimated a lot of the time,
These
like
people
how
need to
how much.
be very realistic and be like, yeah, it's gonna be 3 years in the making because it's a really small team, but it'll be
Mm-hmm.
really good. Worst case scenario, like guys, everything's going way better than we expected. It'll be out sooner.
Yeah.
You know how happy that makes people to hear that something's happening sooner rather than later?
Yeah, I think I'd rather hear that like something's gonna be overestimated time rather than underestimated, and then it comes out way later.
Mm-hmm.
I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather someone be like, yeah, it's gonna be like 2 years from now, and then like they're like, hey, we're done, and it's only been a year. Like you said, like literally, that would be way better than getting your expectations up, and having like all this hope for something to come out so quickly when it cannot, like it's not possible at all.
all right. So I'm gonna try and like push it to end.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up.
Yes, because I'm hungry. Sorry, guys.
He's
Yeah, and I
dying,
need to be
guys.
up early.
I'm eating like 2 pizzas. Like I just ate 2 pizzas during the podcast, so just throwing that out. But okay. So one of the things that I would also want to end with this is okay. Now there's a lot of franchises that we do enjoy that they don't push out games anymore. Do you think other companies will try and cash on those projects that have been given up? Like for example, like what Shenmue's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting kickstarted, and they're gonna try and push that out so that the fans can get another Shenmue. Do you think those games that we are not getting that we do enjoy, or anything, any projects? Tark has mentioned so many TV series that have been canceled that have been brought back. You think anyone will be able to, like, Kickstarter's the way right now with those dead franchises?
Yep.
But do you think there will be other companies looking forward to taking those franchises and making it their own?
No, we already have seen that, seeing that being taken place. Like Crash Bandicoot was purchased by the Universal, like the Universal developers, and now we're getting more Crash Bandicoot games. Same thing with Spyro the Dragon, and everybody thought, you know, after Rare abandoned, Banjo Kazooie, we're never going to see a Banjo Kazooie game ever again. Actually was a Kickstarter. Now it's turning into a video game called Yooka-Laylee. It's coming out very soon. It's supposed to be the successor of Banjo Kazooie. So we're receiving another Banjo Kazooie like game coming out. So it's kind of like, yeah, eventually, sooner or later, people are going to like. I believe they're going to pick up the mantle, and even though it may not be like the same franchise or the same series or anything like that, there will
Maybe
always be
something
like
similar.
those successors
Yeah.
inspired by so and so. Like Mighty Number Nine, as much as how
Yeah,
much
I
you
was
guys
gonna
think it's
say.
not that good, it was basically heavily inspired by the
Yeah,
original Mega Man.
yeah, it absolutely is. Especially like the transformation and stuff like that. It was really cool. I would have liked it more if they had probably stuck with a similar art style instead of like. It honestly felt like you were playing with action figures, like you were controlling action figures and stuff like that. It was really weird. Another one that I would love to see them take inspiration from and do something with, like something along the same lines, is Asura.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's Asura's Wrath. I
Oh
gotta double
yes, what a
check it.
great
It's
game!
Asura's
Yes,
Wrath, right?
yes,
Alright. That
that's a
one,
Capcom game.
that
Such a
one
beautiful
was
game.
really good. Yeah, they have so many, like, so much of their older content is so good.
Capcom. See, the thing is, Capcom doesn't push out games anymore. They only focus right now on Street Fighter and their fighting games, and it's just Street Fighter.
Cause
And
those make
right
the,
now,
those
That's
make
people love.
easy money. That's the
those are their,
difference.
yes, those are their money makers. I do
That's
agree.
demand.
That's their
But at the
easy
same
money.
time, they, like, Resident Evil is trying to make a comeback. They're trying to make that
I mean, I hope their
comeback.
comeback's good. So
I hope so too, because
I'm looking forward to that
if
the
this
most right now.
succeeds, if this succeeds, they'll push out more games. Like, they also pushed out Dead Rising 4. So, like, if you guys have been following me on Twitch, I've been playing that game like crazy, and I
Mm.
enjoy it.
Mm.
So they for some reason they got their zombies games correct, and their fighting games correct. But they have so many other things that are really good that they just don't push out. And it's not only them. Konami flat out died, and they had some really, really good stuff. Like Silent Hill. We're not gonna get a new Silent Hill,
Ooh.
unfortunately. And I was so excited when Kojima had first talked about working on Silent Hills, and I was like, oh, there's this new Silent Hill, and it has Norman Reedus. Oh, Daryl Dixon's in the game. Then Konami was like, Kojima, be gone. We don't want you anymore. And now there's no Silent Hills. Same thing with Sega. Sega has so many great franchises that they're not gonna do anything with. Me and my cousin, we always talk about fighting games, and one of the fighting games we do enjoy, and I'm pretty sure Tark probably, I think Tark likes this one too. It's Virtual Fighter.
Yeah, big fan.
Virtual Fighter is such a good fighting game. To me, when it comes to fighting games, realistic fighting games, that
That's the one.
that's the one. That is the one. And it's so good, and it's very fun. But we're never gonna get another one
Hmm.
because
Um,
Sega's not pushing out any games. The last
Sometimes companies they think that game time was like it's over, like it's done with its generation, and
And
they just
personally, for
want to
me, I
let it
don't.
rest. You know what
Yeah,
I
just
mean?
let. And plus, the
And I
last game
think it's
was just so
okay.
good. The last game
Yeah,
was
I
just
think
so
it's
good.
okay to do that
Just
because
sit.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like when
And
you keep making more and more and more,
you
it
should really
loses
end
its
on a
value.
high note. That's
It
this.
loses its value, yeah. So,
But
There's certain things that need to end on a high note. Is what I feel
but
like.
to answer AJ's original question, no. In my opinion, I think a lot of the stuff maybe in the future that are gonna be made into either sequels or whatnot, or just continuations, or maybe even similarities, like Tark mentioned. I think it will be caused by high demand. In my opinion, like if there's a lot of people saying, "Oh, you know what I really like and what I really miss and I wish I had more of," like they will try to recreate that if it's not by the company itself. I think it'll definitely be caused by high demand of that type of game because we have seen stuff like that in the past where something was so highly recommended or like just highly demanded that they were just like, all right, let's just give them what they want. So, yeah, I think
okay,
that would be the case.
okay. So in conclusion, guys, bug the crap out of these developers to make cool games, man. Those games that are really awesome, just bug them. Just
Or
be like,
shows.
looks
Okay, but
or
not if it's been like
shows.
1 year because then it's just kind of douchey. It's like give
Just
them
bug
time.
them. Now, of course, that's what happened. See, like Fez was a great game, and I enjoyed Fez. I remember I had it on the Xbox 360. The another issue that the developers of Fez had was that they had a really bad relationship with Microsoft and Xbox, and so that affected their business because then like Fez was originally supposed to be an exclusive only on Xbox, but then um but then
Yo, tell your brother to shut up.
You
Like,
need a taser gun or something for him.
I know, put like a chloroform in his face,
God.
he'd sleep the whole night. But Fez was another great game, but they had issues with Microsoft, and then they started doing business with the PlayStation. And Fez was supposed to come out only for PlayStation and Steam, the second one, but as Tark said, the developers got fed up with all the high demands of the community, and it we'll
Yeah.
see. I heard it's on limbo. It's not canceled completely. The developer's working on something else as
Only
well.
time will tell.
Oh,
Oh yes,
that reminds me, AJ. You heard about what was it? Speaking of Microsoft and game cancellations, you heard about what was the Dragon game?
Fable.
Um,
Oh,
well,
Secret
Scalebound.
Dragon?
Fable 2. Fable, there's like mid development they dropped it, and same thing for
Yeah, Fable
Scalebound.
Legends. Fable Legends and
Both of them
Scalebound as
were
well.
late. Yeah, both of them were late in development. Like they were
Yeah.
nearing completion, and then they just said, "Yeah, sorry guys." Fable, I'm really sad about because I would have liked to
Yes,
see something new
I
with
would have
Fable.
actually played that.
Scalebound was hilarious because I've been
Mm.
telling people something's going on because there's a lot of optimization problems considering how close they keep saying they are to being done. I keep seeing a lot of optimization bugs and a lot of things wrong here and there. And I'm just like something's going on there, and then it gets canceled. And I kind of wonder why. I want them to announce a reason why sooner or later. But
You don't particularly will.
But they did the same thing with Phantom Dust. Like I said, the same thing happened. The company dropped. Someone else is gonna pick it up. Microsoft is they're trying to push that game out because it's
yeah,
really unique. So they're gonna get another company to pick it up, just like Phantom Dust. I recently heard, I recently read that some other company did pick it up. I'm not 100% sure, but they did drop it like literally right after the E3 conference. The
hmm
company that was working on it dropped, and it was just left in limbo. And they, from what I heard, like read, they have a new company working on it, and they're trying to push it out to either late this year and early next year. But who knows? Again, industry's weird.
Yeah, like I said, only time will tell. There's one thing
Yes.
I would love to say right now is with companies, I think everyone needs to be a lot more appreciative because we're not the one making it, are we? We're not, right? So I think some people do need to be a little more patient with these companies and appreciate them a little more because there are companies who literally drop their stuff because they were like getting nagged constantly. It is
Yes.
very frustrating. It is very demanding job and it is very pressuring. So I think everyone needs to be a lot more understanding with these developers and companies.
Yes. Yes. So that's that. Um.
on
That
that
is
note,
basically.
on that
On that
particular
note.
note.
On that note, I'm gonna do my anime of the week, like I always do. I always do two. One sub, one dubbed. And this week, this anime came out just recently. Um, this is for the subbed. It caught my attention the very first episode, and I was like, dude, I'm so into this. I'm buying into this anime. So, it's very early to tell where it's going, but I enjoy it so far, and I want people to join in on the ride, especially if they're into subbed anime, because the voice acting is phenomenal. I love Japanese voice acting. So the subbed anime of the week is called Masamune-kun's Revenge, and I've been enjoying it. Uh, I can't get too much into it, but it's a dude who comes back to town. He looks handsome. He goes into school and he finds out that the chick from his past that rejected him is still a cold-hearted, nice, not nice lady. Um, but in his past, he was a fat, ugly, chubby-looking dude.
Mm.
So he completely transformed, and now he wants to get revenge on this not nice lady. So that's what Masamune-kun's Revenge is about, and it's really interesting. I've been enjoying it.
Mm.
And for those who are not familiar with anime, and even those who are, I'm gonna throw out a classic. Um, I've been watching this one as of late for like the sixth time. That's how much I love this anime. I'm pretty sure everyone that watches anime agrees with me. It's a classic. It's it's a like legendary status in anime, and Bushido X Wolf up there, he gave me this poster. I don't know if you guys can see it. Nope, you can't because the light's shining right on it. Unfortunately,
I
Should get a
did.
shade
Oh.
for that.
I should, but it's Cowboy Bebop. Phenomenal anime. Um, you will not be disappointed if you do enjoy anime. It's one of those animes I always recommend people if they're starting to watch anime because it's very unique. Not only is it unique, all the characters are interesting, and you do not. I don't think there's a dull moment in the anime itself, so I recommend that. And that is my anime of the week. Final words, people of Too Geeky to Care.
Peace out.
Other
That's
than
my
peace
final
out,
words.
yeah.
Take care.
And then we'll let Tark do his speech.
Have a
Well,
lovely
I
week.
guess yes, that, but just those you know that just because, we are requesting more and more, that doesn't mean we're never going to get it. Due to where we're living, this age that we're living at, where we're just constantly craving to live in the world of nostalgia, sooner or later, we're eventually going to get the sequel or the prequel that we've been waiting for, or if not something in the same universe, we're going to get a spiritual successor of something. And so we're living in this society where we are just craving more and more of everything that we love so far, and sooner or later we're eventually going to get it because of how all these different studios, these distributors, how they're all responding. And so yeah, whenever we're craving for more and more, I don't see the need to be like negative or to be hurtful or anything like that, because I don't want the next Phil Fish to come in and do all those things that, that he said, and say all those things that happened in order for him to basically cancel the sequel to a game that everybody was so pressuring him to do and all that. So my bottom line is patience is key, and eventually we're going to get it.
Yo, but we're not all of us are patient people, Tark.
That is
Just
true.
saying.
Learn some patience.
Learn.
Patience
Anyways,
can be learned.
hey, there's
Saying.
this one
There's
quote.
methods.
There's this one quote
Or
that I'm
there's a
not gonna
Lotus
quote
way.
because I don't know the quote, but
Wow.
um,
Okay, thank you.
Patience is a
Insightful.
virtue.
there we
Yes,
go, there we go,
exactly.
there we go. Okay, there we go. There goes
Patience is a virtue.
friend. See you, Space Cowboy. Yes, so good. Anyways, thank you all for stopping by. You guys have been awesome. Each and every one of us do stream. Bushido X Wolf though, he's one of the ones that he's like a gopher. He pops up whenever he wants.
He's a very gem,
I'm
okay?
doing this. I mean, I
I
could
know,
I
but
could add an extra 2 hours to my stream time if I wasn't.
yeah, I know. Nah, but he again, like I said, he's a gopher. When you catch him, it's gold though, because he
Mhm.
does stream some amazing indie games. And so we all stream. We all love video games. Our stream names are either below us or above us, depending on where we are mapped out in the layouts. Um, we would, we are coming back next week with a new topic, and I hope you guys come back and enjoy that with us. And you guys have a great weekend. So, Too Geeky to Care likes to thank each and every one of you, and peace out.
Thank you guys so much. Until next time. Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody. Take care.
Care.
Glorious! I will give in till I'm victorious.